Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you the European Code of Conduct for Research Integrity. The next slide, please. So this code, this document, is fresh. It was launched last summer. It's available at the site which is indicated at the bottom of my slide. Now, this code is based on a consensus on basic principles that were identified across Europe. I will give you a little bit later the institutions who have assembled this code, but they cover 22 European countries, and they are part of the most important research funders in Europe, and we are talking about basic research here. So it is a consensus document on basic principles, and because it is a consensus document, it is rather a canon for self-regulation than a body of law. And this code applies to all research fields. It focuses on standards of integrity while the researchers are conducting their research, the process, and it aims at stimulating the development of institutional settings, rules, regulations that strengthen the perception of research integrity, and it sets standards across Europe that also, we hope, can be applied globally. Next slide, please. So the principles that were agreed upon, which now pertain, which are important for researchers themselves, research institutes, universities, academies, and funding organizations, are as follows: honesty, reliability, objectivity, impartiality and independence, open communication, duty of care, fairness, and responsibility for future science generations. The term training was just alluded to, that this is a very, very important issue indeed. So you may think that these are self-evident principles. This is not the case. It took many, many long discussions to really agree about this set of basic principles for research integrity. Employers then, on the other hand, they have the responsibility of establishing and fostering a culture of research integrity. The next slide, please. So the good research practices, the recommendations are as follows. So proper research procedures. This means design of experiments, analysis of the data, the results, reporting the data and the findings, and making them public. Responsible research procedures then. Here we name respect to co-authors, to collaborators, for instance, safety for everybody involved, for the environment, care for object of research, and this is, for instance, very important when we use animals in research. There are recommendations on data management, what concerns storage of data and access to data. There are issues related to publication of research findings. Here we list honesty, rapidity of making the findings public, authorship, agreement and fair treatment of authorship, recognition of collaborators, and the conflict of interest issue. And then what concerns now peer reviewers, assessors, and editors, honesty, fairness, accuracy, confidentiality, and again, conflict of interest. The next one, please. Here we have recommendations for collaborative research. Now, first we address collaboration between individual researchers. So the partners should agree to conduct research according to common joint norms and standards, and they are defined in the code. Collaboration between institutes. Now, what concerns alleged misconduct cases, they should be dealt with according to the principles and rules and regulations of the primary partner with the primary responsibility, in line with a code, the code. And what concerns international collaboration, and these are often large-scale internationally funded projects, the partners should sign agreements in advance before the research effort has begun and use play text, and there is, for instance, the OECD Global Science Forum play text, and also this European Code of Conduct for Research Integrity provides a play text. The next slide then, please. Here we have those who have contributed to who have developed the European Code of Conduct for Research. I should perhaps mention that the European Science Foundation, under whose umbrella this was conducted, is an organization owned jointly by 78 organizations in 30 European countries, and these organizations are the research councils, the major state research institutes, academies and learning societies. So out of this set of member organizations of the European Science Foundation, 31 organizations contributed and developed together this European Code of Conduct for Research. And I'm just here listing the research councils, the countries whose research councils were partners, and the research performing organizations. We had the major organization from 5 countries, academies of 4 countries, and also partners, all European academies and the European University Association. So these organizations are those who manage the largest share of public funds used for fundamental research in Europe. All in all, the ESF member organizations manage about 30 billion per year. So it is a heavyweight set of organizations. So this is an important accomplishment, an important document, and of course they are then implementing this code. So the next steps then, after having now the code developed and published, it has to be the rules and regulations, the recommendations have to be implemented. And this is, of course, a huge effort because we have 1,000 universities, for instance, who conduct research in Europe, and the institutes, the research institutes, etc. The code must be implemented. Okay, there's a lot to be done then at the national level, at the institutional level. There may be, and we know that there are several codes at the national level, and so there's an effort to harmonize the national codes with the supranational code. Monitoring of the implementation of the code is now the future work of this forum who has developed the code with all these partners that I mentioned. There should be a dialogue and discussion over national borders, how research integrity is really taken care of. And then we have a very important domain, and this is my last point, which is global research collaboration. Now, for instance, the Commission is focusing a lot on the so-called grand challenges that menace mankind and our societies, which can be at least partly managed by research. So we are entering really into an era of large-scale international collaborations where we have European partners and partners over the entire globe. And this joint research exercise is unthinkable unless all the partners have agreed and can agree about the basic principles of what we mean with research integrity. Thank you.